Well, Merry Christmas, YouTube viewers, and welcome to the pseudo-season finale of Home Media Reviews, or this little mini-series that I've done here towards the end of 2019. I don't know what kind of voice this is. It's kind of like a parody of Philip DeFranco's voice when he tries to be all serious and whatnot, or presumptuous or whatever. I don't know what this is. I'm going to stop now. But yes, welcome to the final HMR for 2019 and the season finale of this little mini-series I've done here with the Disney-era Star Wars films. Today we are discussing Solo: A Star Wars Story. And after last week with The Last Jedi, it's finally time to get back to a movie that pretty much everybody agrees is kind of mediocre. Do I agree with that statement? We'll have to see. But for now, let's move on to the history section of Solo: A Star Wars Story. So Solo: A Star Wars Story, amid some director drama and the fact that almost the entire film was reshot, showed up in theaters on May 10th, 2018. This one is interesting, considering the fact it was not released around Christmas time. It was actually released in May, a mere couple of months after The Last Jedi, which I still maintain was a stupid move by Lucasfilm to release Solo in May. For one thing, they had already established Star Wars as being a Christmas event. Why would you put it in May? And another, the fan reaction to The Last Jedi was really negative. Like, insanely negative. We talked about it last week, about how just irrationally angry a lot of fanboys got about The Last Jedi. Why would you put out a new Star Wars film so close to The Last Jedi? And on top of that, the entire film was basically reshot because your directors you had originally hired didn't give you the vision that you wanted. Yeah, if you don't know, Solo had 3 directors. Kind of. They first hired the Lego Movie guys, Phil Lord and Chris Miller, to make Solo. They made a version of Solo that Kathleen Kennedy said, "Hey, Phil Lord and Chris Miller, we hired you to not be Phil Lord and Chris Miller. Could you not be Phil Lord and Chris Miller?" And Phil Lord and Chris Miller were like, "Yeah, but we're Phil Lord and Chris Miller. Why don't you want us to be Phil Lord and Chris Miller?" And then Kathleen Kennedy said, "Okay, you're fired." Just before we move on here, Kathleen Kennedy, what the actual hell is wrong with you? You should have known what you were getting into when you hired Phil Lord and Chris Miller. You had production meetings upon meetings, leading up to the shooting of Solo. Did you think they weren't going to make a certain type of film? And then you fire them when they don't adhere to what you want. Absolutely asinine, the way that Kennedy handled that situation. But after Phil Lord and Chris Miller were fired, they brought in Ron Howard, who I don't really know from a lot. I know he did Rush, and I know he did Willow. That's pretty much it. That's all I know about Mr. Ron Howard, but he made this movie, so that's pretty cool. I just knew Ron Howard as a guy who could get a film in on time and under budget, which he only did one of those things here. He got the movie in on time. Under budget? No, but that's not his fault. That's Lucasfilm's fault. What I mean by that is Solo's budget was blown out astronomically because of the reshoots. And that's the reason the movie didn't make as much money as Lucasfilm wanted. They were the ones that sealed their own fate when they fired Phil Lord and Chris Miller and wanted the whole movie reshot. And yet they decided to blame the fanboys and a fake boycott. Yeah, right, Lucasfilm. You were the one who stabbed yourselves with that knife. Anyway, moving on from that fiasco. Solo was then released on Blu-ray, 4K Blu-ray, and regular DVD on September 25th, 2018. Again, no 3D Blu-ray here in the States. You had to go overseas to get the 3D version of Solo. And again, just like The Last Jedi, just a regular Blu-ray. There was no DVD included in the regular Blu-ray. Unless you did something special, which we'll talk about here in a minute. Best Buy, of course, had a steelbook, but unlike The Last Jedi, Best Buy Steelbook was only a 4K plus Blu-ray combo pack. There was no Blu-ray/DVD combo pack. You could only get the 4K and the regular Blu-ray in the Best Buy Steelbook, which is a leap forward, in my opinion. Target also had an exclusive, which included a digibook package that included making-ofs and stuff like that. It was also just 4K and Blu-ray, no DVD. And you also got a exclusive featurette that was about building the Millennium Falcon, which could only be found on the streaming service known as Movies Anywhere. So we went with Force Awakens to digital bonus content. Then with Rogue One and Last Jedi, we got physical bonus content. And now we're back to digital bonus content. Disney, make up your mind, will you? But Solo actually had 2 Target exclusives. If you were a Target Red Card holder, which is basically just Target's version of a credit card, you could have got a exclusive red Millennium Falcon buildable model. It's actually really nice. Remember how I said earlier that there actually was a Blu-ray/DVD combo pack for Solo? Well, you could only get that through the Disney Movie Club, much like with The Last Jedi. If you ordered it through the Disney Movie Club, you got that exclusive combo pack. And okay, I gotta put my laptop down here for just a minute, because we need to talk about Walmart's exclusive. Walmart's exclusives throughout this miniseries have been pretty good. They haven't been the best, but they've been cool at the very least. Including stuff like new slipcovers, reversible slipcovers, Star Wars connections, discs. Walmart's exclusive this time is a little different, because there's really nothing exclusive about it content-wise. The one exclusive feature of Walmart is the fact that you are just getting a regular Blu-ray. Let me explain. Blu-rays nowadays come with digital copies included for the most part. If you're buying a brand new Blu-ray, you are 9 times out of 10 gonna get a digital version of that movie. Walmart said, to hell with that, just give us the regular Blu-ray. That's it. What? And the worst part about this exclusive is, it wasn't even any cheaper than a standard Blu-ray that comes with a digital copy. It wasn't any cheaper. The standard Blu-ray price for Solo back then was about, I'd say $22, $23. It was, the 4K was closer to 30, but the regular Blu-ray was cheaper. But at Walmart, with just a Blu-ray and just a bonus features disc and just Disney movie reward points, no digital copy, still $23? You couldn't knock off a few dollars off of that price, Disney? Because the fact that you are taking away content? You're taking away value from a release? You couldn't knock the price down to 20? You had to keep it at 23? What the hell? The Walmart exclusive version of this just angers me deeply, because it's so stupid. Anyway, at least Walmart stocked the 4Ks of Solo, where you could actually get a digital copy included. Although, if you were my Walmart back then, you didn't even stock the 4K. You just got your regular exclusive Walmart Blu-ray in, and that was that. So Solo has had the shortest shelf life out of any of the Star Wars films, as it was released the most recently. However, it did get reprinted in September of 2019, along with the rest of the saga, in this really cool poster here. And guess what? They brought back the digital copy code. Well, not brought back, but it is included here, which is nice. There was also a standard DVD version of Solo with this poster art, but I don't have a photo of it. So for the last 3 HMRs, I've told stories about going to see these films in theaters and the emotions and fun I had seeing them. With Solo, I don't really have a story to tell you about when I went to see it. It was like any other Friday going to see a movie. I was excited for the film. For the most part, we were going to a pretty nice theater with reclining seats. We got pretty good seats. Saw it on a huge-ass IMAX-inducing screen, but nothing really intriguing happened at the showing. There wasn't any screw-ups or anything. It just happened, and then I went home. I did see this movie again in theaters by myself a couple of weeks later, and it just made me love the film even more. I'll tell you this, though. I'll tell you about when I went to go buy this movie. I like the Target exclusives of the Star Wars films. You know this. You guys know this. I think Target has really good exclusives when it comes to films. And I was confident that I was not going to find the Target exclusive version of Solo, so I didn't even try. I went straight to Best Buy after class, because I had a class at like 9 o'clock on Tuesdays around this time when Solo came out. So that means I got out at 10 and got to go into work late, and I could go and pick up movies on day of release and have my choice of what versions I wanted. It was kind of nice. So I booked it over to Best Buy and grabbed the Steelbook. Because, damn it, I wanted a exclusive version of Solo. So I grabbed the Steelbook, and to be honest, I wasn't really a big fan of how the 4K standard artwork looked. I was not doing it for me. Not really all that big a fan of that. So I grabbed the Steelbook, and then I went home. A couple weeks later, I'm in Target, and I'm like looking around the Blu-rays, not expecting to find anything new. Lo and behold, what do I find? The 4K exclusive version of Solo, and they had like 5 copies left just sitting there. But I didn't buy it outright. I waited another couple of weeks. I think I was shooting a vlog when I went to go buy this. And then I found it, and I bought it. That's how I became the man who bought Solo twice. So that concludes the history section. Let's go ahead and move on to the close-up section of Solo. Okay, everybody, here's your close-up look at Solo, A Star Wars Story. We begin here with the Best Buy exclusive Steelbook version of Solo. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at it. Here, on the top, on the little cardboard bit that goes over the Steelbook, we've got 4K Ultra HD, only at Best Buy. 4K Ultra HD, plus Blu-ray, plus digital code. Limited edition collectible Steelbook with the Solo logo right there. And some pretty cool artwork of the Millennium Falcon on top of Kessel. It's a little bit bland, but it's pretty cool also. I have a love-hate relationship with this. The side, Solo, A Star Wars Story, Lucasfilm, Ultra HD Blu-ray down there. Flip this over on the back. There's your barcode. Han, Chewie, the one feminist droid who is like an SJW in the Star Wars universe. Qi'ra, Lando, and Woody Harrelson down there at the bottom. Your character screenshots there. Did I already mention the barcode? It's right there. Digital code included, 4K Ultra HD, and explanation of what that is, and what you'll need for it, and the regular Blu-ray, which is where your bonus features are held. There is your legalese and such down there at the bottom. iTunes requires an iTunes account. Got to explain how this works with iTunes, because apparently iTunes users are dummies. Take this cardboard thing off, which of course goes over top of the Steelbook, which is inside of the shrink wrap when you buy it brand new, which I did, day of release. The back of this features some really Photoshop looking artwork. I mean, honestly, like, Han looks pretty good, so does Chewie, but Qi'ra is obviously taken straight from her character poster and just plopped in there. Lando might have been actually there when they took this photo, but it's pretty Photoshoppy looking, but it's nice. I really like the tint of it. Open up the Steelbook. There's your 4K disc to match the front artwork. Your film disc on regular Blu-ray down there. This resembles the artwork of the standard Blu-ray and standard 4K, actually. And then your bonus disc is underneath there, which resembles the Target exclusive artwork of this, surprisingly enough. And the inside artwork is the Millennium Falcon's cockpit. I believe I shot a vlog about this a few years ago when I went to pick this up. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I found the Target exclusive in stores, and I bought it at full price. Let's take a look at it here. There's your artwork. Really like this artwork more than the standard version of Solo. There's what that looks like on the screen right now. Doesn't this just look better? I think so. 4K Ultra HD up there at the top. Same explanation as on the Steelbook about what is in it. Only at Target includes limited version 40-page gallery book plus exclusive digital bonus features. Yay! Exclusive bonus features. That's always cool. Here's what the version looks like when you open it up. It's a little screenshot there. Again, really like this poster. Pretty much the exact same as the steelbook. As a matter of fact, I think they're exactly the same. Yeah, they're pretty much exactly the same. Look at that. So those are your cardboard pieces. So let's take a look at the actual artwork without it. Again, still cool. The side, Solo, A Star Wars Story. Nice big font there. Lucasfilm, Ultra HD Blu-ray. And then the back is Han looking like a badass. Take off our slipcover here. There's our scruffy looking nerf herders there on the Millennium Falcon cockpit. Nothing on that side. There's Woody Harrelson. Look at him there. I don't know why I started talking in an Australian accent. That was weird. Han, Chewie on the inside there. Keep opening this up. And then there are your discs as well. Take this off screen to take the discs out to show you what the artwork looks like underneath. Because there is artwork. The discs are the same. There it is. Lando and Qi'ra. Your 40-page gallery book is over here in this little crevice. Here's what that looks like. Solo, A Star Wars Story, in the scene where Han goes and bets Lando he can beat him in, oh, what's the game? Sabacc. That's what it is. To win the Millennium Falcon. The back is Lando walking on the Millennium Falcon. Look at that symmetry. It's art house. It's a really nice, high-quality book, actually. And it just gives you behind-the-scenes tidbits of how the film was made and whatnot. I really like it. I've flipped through this once or twice, and it's cool to have. So out of the two Solo exclusives that I own, which one do I prefer? This one. It just has more meat on its bones in terms of packaging. It's got more content, and I just like the poster art more. I like the steelbook. I'm not going to get rid of the steelbook or anything, but I like the Target exclusive one more, and that shows because I bought both of these at full price, $37 a piece. It's a good thing I don't pay taxes. Chill, IRS. I pay taxes, alright? Look me up. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and transition into our menu tour of Solo, A Star Wars Story. Okay, everybody, here we are for our menu tours for Solo. You can see we're starting off with the regular film Blu-ray disc. And like last week with The Last Jedi menu, I really like this menu as well. Just the contrast between where the scenes are and where there's static images, it comes together really well. Plus, I like the color scheme of Solo as well. I said last week I really like the color scheme of The Last Jedi. Solo's is pretty good as well. It's a lot of browns and blacks and whatnot, but it works. So we got play, scene selection, and setup. Scene selection is, of course, standard with all Star Wars releases at this point. We've got a ton of scenes, each of them with their own little subtitle. And do we have 50 scenes? Let's find out. Yes, exactly 50 scenes. So that's cool, I guess. Setup. For languages, we have a 7.1 English mix, a 2.0 English mix, French 5.1, and Spanish 5.1 mixes, respectively. And for subtitles, we've got English, French, and Spanish. Stock standard here for all of Star Wars and pretty much all of Disney home media stuff at this point. Before we move on, I apologize if you hear some whirring or clicking noises in the background. I'm going to try to remove those in editing later. I'm installing some software on my computer and my disk drive is abhorrently loud. But here we are, folks, for the bonus features disc of Solo. You can see our menu hasn't changed at all. We just now have bonus features and subtitles for our menu selection. Let's take a look. We have Solo, the director and cast round table, Kasdan on Kasdan, remaking the Millennium Falcon, Escape from Corellia, The Train Heist, Team Chewie, Becoming a Droid L337, Scoundrels, Droids, Creatures, and Cards, Welcome to Fort Yipso, Into the Maelstrom, The Kessel Run, Deleted Scenes, and Info. Subtitles include English for the hearing impaired, French, and Spanish, so no changes to the subtitles there. Okay, now here we are for the 4K disc. Colors, of course, look a little crisper and cleaner, a little brighter and whatnot. I love it. Play, scene selection, and settings. The scenes are going to be exactly the same as on the Blu-ray, so we're not going to look at them here. The settings, of course, are what is different here on the 4K disc. For languages, we have a Dolby Atmos mix, an English 2.0 mix, French and Spanish 7.1, almost said 5.1, but 7.1, and then whatever the hell this language is, 5.1. I have no idea what that is. It looks like just random symbols. Indonesian, maybe? Subtitles include English, French, Spanish. One of these is maybe Chinese and maybe Japanese. I have no idea. I'm sorry to those countries. And then for disc languages, we have English, English descriptive audio, French, Spanish, and the return of these weird symbols. I probably just offended so many cultures. I am so sorry. I don't know what those languages are. So, with all that being said, let's go ahead and move on and transition back and answer the 5 main questions as always. Alright, so we're back from the close-up. Now it's time to answer the 5 main questions as always. Number 1. Where can you pick this product up? You can still find Solo on shelves. Surprisingly enough, you can't really find the original 4K or Blu-ray on the shelves much anymore. You can still find the reprinted version on Blu-ray and on DVD, which the content is exactly the same, so it's not like you're losing anything there. I'd say if you are looking for this film, check your local Best Buy. They will more than likely have the regular Blu-ray that was reprinted in September of this year. Number 2, is this product still being printed nowadays? Yeah! Hooray! We can answer that again 4 times in a row. That might be a new record. Number 3, should you pick this product up? Han Solo is my favorite Star Wars character, which is a bit cliche because everybody likes Han Solo. But I just love him because of his roguish charm and how his character arc progresses throughout the original trilogy. I enjoy the character of Han Solo, and I was super worried when Lucasfilm announced, hey, we're going to make a Solo standalone film, and it's going to be young Han this time, and it's going to be an origin story. And I'm like, hey, wait a minute. Do we need this? And Lucasfilm said, no, we don't need it, but we're going to make it anyway. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'll see it. And after that first trailer came out, I remember there was a huge meme campaign about the Solo trailer. It was pretty close to when the film was supposed to actually come out, and the trailer hadn't been released yet. There was a Twitter account called Is the Solo trailer out yet? And every day it would just tweet no. But when the trailer actually did come out, it tweeted yes, which was cool. But man, was I not impressed with that first trailer. I didn't care for it. I was like, man, this is the first Star Wars movie I'm really not gonna like that's made by Disney. Because at the time I was still high on Rogue One and thought, hey, Rogue One's good, when really it's not. But man, after seeing Solo in theaters, I was like blown away by how much fun I had in this movie. I love Solo. It's my favorite of the Disney-era Star Wars films. The lead of Alden Ehrenreich as Han Solo, he actually does a pretty good job. Yeah, I was worried going into it because I had heard that he needed acting lessons, which, not a good sign when your lead needs to be taught how to act. But he did a really good job as a young, charismatic version of Han Solo. I've heard some criticisms, though, that are people saying that, well, where's the grumpiness? Where's the gruffness of Han? Huh? Guys, Han's not 30 and cynical yet. He's like 19 here, and he's just trying to have a good time. Why would he be grumpy and cynical when he's 19? He must live a sad life at that point. I thought Alden Ehrenreich did a great job. I also think that Woody Harrelson also did a great job as Han's mentor, Tobias Beckett, or as I call him, Tallahassee from Zombieland. Time to nut up or shut up. Man, I love Zombieland. He did a great job too, and Woody Harrelson, he's just a really good actor. He's good in basically anything that he does. Emilia Clarke as Qi'ra. Interesting love interest. She's a little bit ill-defined in her motivations. Most of the 3 years that Han was off of Corellia fighting for the Empire, and while she was doing whatever, most of that's kept secret in terms of her. We don't know what she was up to. You just kind of have to assume she did some bad things, and that's why she doesn't want to be with Han, and that's why she takes Dryden's ship at the end and leaves Han on the beach after he shoots Beckett. It just seems like, I don't know, they kind of lost track with what they wanted to do with Qi'ra, and then towards the end, they were like, we need to make her do something important, so they have her betray Han. Yeah, okay, she was functional. Donald Glover, though, he might be the best performance in the entire film. He does a great job at channeling Billy D. Williams as Lando Calrissian. I also love the slight reference that he gives when he calls Han Han, because Han says Sabak. And if you don't know, in Empire Strikes Back, I don't know what it was, but Billy D. Williams just couldn't say Han. He kept saying Han. Han! Han! There's still a chance to save Han! And now here, it's established that he does it to mess with Han. So, could I ask you a question? Anything Han? It's Han, actually. Which in Empire Strikes Back, it kind of doesn't make sense why he would be joking around calling him Han after he just made him get frozen in carbonite and is presumably dead, and his friends might not see him anymore, but hey, Lando's a jokey guy, let's not think about it too much. I really liked L337. She's a perfect stereotypical SJW droids rights type of character, and she was just hilarious to me. I didn't find her offensive, I found her funny. And I got kind of sad when she got shot, mainly because I wanted to hear more of her funny lines. Kind of hard for me to talk about Chewbacca as a character because he's really not that much of a character. He's there, and he was portrayed well, but he doesn't do all that much. I thought it was cool, though, the way that Han meets Chewbacca. Chewbacca's like this scary monster thing that the Empire has basically enslaved, and they feed him prisoners. That's kind of cool. I'm not going to talk about Rio or Val because they're dead within the first 30 minutes of the film, and I don't really care about them all that much. They were functional in their roles, and Jon Favreau does a really great voice of a Ardinian, I believe is what the species was. He does a good voice of Rio. And Val, Tanny Newton, I hated her in Mission Impossible 2. She's better here than she was there, so there's points for that. So we got a great core cast of heroes. I love watching them interact with one another. I think all of their performances in one way or another are very engaging. What about the villain? What about Dryden Voss? Paul Bettany's pretty good in this too. He only gets a couple of scenes to really sell his menace, but man, there's just something about his performance that makes him so endearing to listen to. I guess it's that voice. Paul Bettany's voice is just endearing to me. No, not Qi'ra. Qi'ra, as it turns out, has a soft spot for you, and we'll deal with that in due time. I get so worked up. And why should I? It's a party. It's just so cool to see Dryden, how he's kind of insane. He can be all nice and charming and then just kill you in a split second. I love how he's introduced, too, when Beckett, Han, and Chewie go up to his yacht, and that hostess walks up to Tallahassee from Zombieland and says, yeah, Dryden's just finishing with the regional governor, and Dryden's pulling a knife out of the governor's gut. I just find that funny. So, the core cast of heroes, good. Villain, good. How about the action? It's pretty damn entertaining. Solo's a heist film, and the heist is to steal hyperfuel from a refinery on Kessel. Yeah, we get the Kessel Run here. And the Kessel Run, wow, I was really impressed with this watching it in theaters. It's really great, and I love how the old music from both Star Wars and Empire is brought back into the Kessel Run. I love watching Han fly the Falcon. That move where he flips over and knocks a TIE fighter into an asteroid, that's genius. And the other action, it's pretty great too. Special effects, really great. There's not really much I don't like about Solo. I like pretty much everything in this film. I really like the world building that Solo sets up. It really makes it seem like this is a film that takes place in the Star Wars universe, especially with the references that Lando gives to old Lando novels that are no longer canon. It's still cool that he references them, though. Even the reference of Scarif, that was a planet in Rogue One. Yeah, it exists in this universe. People are going to talk about it. The biggest reference, though, and one that had a lot of people standing up going, what the hell? was Darth Maul. I knew Darth Maul survived. I watched the Clone Wars. I was watching Rebels as this was coming out in theaters. When that hologram pops up and you see a robot leg and you hear the voice go, "Yes," I was sitting in the theater going, "Nuh-uh, that ain't Darth Maul. There's no way that's Darth Maul." And then he stands up and takes the hood off, and I'm like, holy shit, that's Darth Maul! They even got Sam Witwer back to do the voice, and Ray Park to do the motion capture. Ray Park played Darth Maul in the Phantom Menace, and Witwer played him in the Clone Wars and in Rebels. That's amazing! Is it kind of stupid that he lights up his lightsaber? A little bit, yeah. But it's still amazing that he's here! I don't know how he ends up on Malachor. That's where he is in Rebels a couple of years later, but obviously something bad goes wrong in his criminal empire, and he ends up on Malachor. But it's still awesome that he's here. I love the fact that they brought back Maul for this movie. I guess really the only thing I have an issue with Solo is the first, 20 or 30 minutes or so are unnecessarily dark. Not dark in terms of tone, dark in terms of light on the screen. First time I saw this movie, I mentioned I saw it in an IMAX type of screen. I still had trouble seeing what the hell was going on when Han was on Corellia talking to the big worm monster. I was like, can somebody get me a flashlight? Because I can't see what's going on here. It's even worse on the mud planet that Han and Tallahassee from Zombieland and his cohorts end up on later when they're impersonating Imperial officers. It's worse there, and I'm like, oh, what? Huh? I will say, though, watching it at home, I just have to adjust my brightness settings a little bit on my TV, and everything's perfectly fine. They could have done that in the editing room, though. Maybe boosted the brightness a little bit. It was really hard to see. As it stands, though, I really love Solo. This movie, it just screams fun to me, and I have a blast every time I watch it. So yes, I do recommend that you pick up Solo and that you see Solo. Is it necessary? No. Could I have lived if I had never gotten this film? Probably. But am I happy I have it? Yeah. Really happy, actually. I was very impressed. Now, Phil Lord and Chris Miller's version probably would have been funnier, but I can't speak to if it would have been better or not because I haven't seen it. I can just infer from what Phil Lord and Chris Miller had made before this. Lego Movie, Spider-Verse, all that stuff. Could it have been better? It's quite possible. But for the movie we got, it's pretty damn good. Number 4, where should you pick this product up? Wherever you can find it. Best Buy. Look there. Maybe Target? It's a big maybe. And number 5, what price should you pay? For the regular Blu-ray, once again, pay whatever the store is asking for. I think it's like 22 or 23 bucks for that. Not really all that expensive. And you're getting, the bonus features disc and the digital copy. Screw you, Walmart, for taking that away. For the 4K set, I'd say 25 to 30 for that. It's pretty okay. I wasn't too blown away with the 4K transfer on this, actually. I didn't talk about that in question 3, but the 4K on this looks good. It's just not, wow, look at that. That is 4K. Yeah, it's good. It's an improvement over the Blu-ray, but it's not the best. It's no Atomic Blonde on 4K, which looks amazing. Aside from the fact that the movie's not great, that movie looks amazing on 4K. Solo, though, it looks fine. For any of the exclusive versions, 30 for those maybe? That might be pushing it a little bit, but the Steelbook was actually 35 when it first came out. I paid full price for that, so 30 is actually not a bad deal for the Steelbook. And for the Target version as well. The Target version I think was 33 when I picked that up. Brand new, so. The Walmart one, burn it! So that, ladies and gentlemen, is my HMR on Solo. And that wraps up home media reviews for the year. We did it, boys. We did it. We reviewed the Disney-era Star Wars films. Now the only Star Wars content I haven't reviewed is the prequels, the Clone Wars movie, the Clone Wars TV series, the Rebels TV series, and a lot of other things that are not considered canon now. I have a long way to go before I complete Star Wars, so I'm not going to say I'm going to complete Star Wars because I don't think I ever will. But I am glad that I got to talk more about the Disney-era Star Wars films and shut up the haters and say, hey, they're not as bad as you think they are. Or at least I think they're not as bad as you think they are. You can have your own opinion, but know that mine is the right one. So now comes the time where I detail content for next year, and at the time I'm recording this video, production on Season 2 of HMR has sort of begun. I've finalized the list of the films I'm going to cover for it, but I haven't started watching, recording the close-ups and menu tours, or recording these audio segments for them yet, because I haven't watched any of the films yet. So I don't know when HMR Season 2 is actually going to premiere next year. If I had to give a good estimate, and some of you are probably not going to want to hear this, I'd have to say sometime in March or April. I can't get it done by January or February. It's just not feasible. That sucks that you guys have to wait a couple of months before I actually come back in full force in 2020 with new content, but would you rather have content later or a little bit now and then have to wait a long time and then a little bit later and then all that? Would you rather have it all at once later or just a little bit now and then having to wait forever? I personally choose getting it later and getting it all later. But all in all, HMR for 2019 has been very successful. The first season was pretty much accepted by every fan of Thomas & Friends home media reviews. I got some people in there saying how they subscribed to me for Thomas content, and I lost some fans because I kind of backed away from Thomas this year. There wasn't a lot of Thomas videos uploaded this year. I know. Next year, though, that's probably going to change. I've got some plans, you know. I've talked a lot about in live streams. I want to bring my series back, do one big final blowout of remasters, and then boom, that's done. And Thomas & Friends home media reviews had a lot of supplementals this last year, and we returned with an epilogue of Big World, Big Adventures, the movie. God, that was terrible. Not the video I made on it. The video I made on it was pretty good. The movie itself was terrible. But with all that being said, I want to thank you guys so much for watching the channel throughout 2019, and I hope to see you back in 2020 for HMR Season 2, more episodes of my Thomas series, more remakes. I'm thinking more about doing some more remakes and whatnot. More pretty much everything. Audio commentaries, vlogs, not Roblox, I don't play Roblox anymore. Just more everything. I ain't stopping. The doctor says I have a real problem. I should probably get that checked out, but I'm not going to because I don't want to stop. Once again, thank you guys so much for being with me and supporting me throughout this last year. And I hope you guys are excited for the next season of HMR coming to you next year in 2020. So guys, have a very Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and as always, good night, everybody.